All right, everyone, we're going to do a new Photoshop assignment today, and I want to start from the beginning here. If you forget what the class link login is, you can literally just click classlink.com, and if you've logged in before, it should get you right in. You should have saved all that. The link is actually launchpad.classlink.com, gets you to here. All right, and the other thing that I want to make sure before we even get started in this assignment is we want to make sure that your Google file stream is set up, dialed in, and ready to work. So if we click My Files and we let this open up, a good indicator as to whether or not this is set up and working, at least the first step in this process, is to check inside of here. So you just have to be patient for this to pop up. I'm going to put it on pause until it does. Okay, I'm back. So I only have 15 minutes to do these videos, so I have to use every second that I can. Once this pops up, if you click Manage Services, you should have Google Drive connected. All right. Right now mine says disconnect. That is because it has a little green check here and it says it's connected. So that's good. That's what we want right here. If we go back to ClassLink and now we click the remote applications, and we go ahead and log in here. I'm using my MS Tech Ed student account so that you guys see what I'm seeing. And then from here, before we move into Photoshop, we want to go over here and click our Drive file stream. This is where a lot of kids go wrong and where we're having issues. So sometimes this auto launches and sometimes it doesn't. If you click it first, it should auto launch and everything should work. Now, the problem is it blacks out when you do this at first. So you have to go back here to All Resources and typically click it a second time and say allow, and then it just pops up magically, and there it is. All right, so here it is, Google Drive file stream. If that's showing up there, that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. The other thing we should be looking for is a T drive to make sure that we can find the file that we're going to look for. So I have Google Drive file stream, I have the T drive, I have everything that I need. So I'm going to go back here to All Resources now, and I'm going to open Photoshop. I'm going to say allow. I'm going to get this up. And from here, we are going to open a brand new file. We're going to open a file that I've already created and we're going to work on it. All right. So you can either click open here or you can go to file, open up here. I'm going to have you guys browse out to the T drive. Okay. In the T drive, there's a Photoshop resources folder. I'm going to have you look in there. And the image that we want is this one right here, DWT Wheels Tire Studio 2. This one's important. All right. So we've got this image right here. And this image has a couple of things that are really wrong with it. The tires look really good, but the background looks pretty terrible. So that background's supposed to be white and not have any of these wrinkles on here. I'm going to show you guys how to fix it. Now, one of the tools that we're going to use for this is if you go down, which one is it? I'm on a Mac here right now, so it's showing up a little differently for me. So it's actually 4 tools down. If you click and you hold this button down, the magic wand tool, looks like a little pixie wand. So if you click that, that's the wand, that's the tool that we want. You're going to notice up here it says tolerance of 32. So I want to show you guys what happens. The whole deal going on here is when we click with that magic wand tool, notice how it selects a group of colors here, right? That is all based upon the tolerance that we have. So at 32, depending on where you click, like if I click over here, see it'll select some different stuff. If I click here, it'll go back and select different things. It depends on where you click and what you click and what the tolerance is. So at 32, that's what I get. If I put it at 100, look at that. It selects almost everything. The problem with that is if I hold the Alt and the plus sign down, I can zoom in. The problem with that is that these little nubs that are on these tires, it doesn't do a great job getting those. So I'm going to zoom it back out a little bit, and I'm going to go back in and I'm going to choose, instead of a tolerance of 100, I'm going to choose a tolerance of 10. Now, when I click here, you'll see that 10 doesn't grab a whole lot, but what it does grab, it does an awesome job at selecting between the background and the actual tire right here, right? But it doesn't select a whole lot of stuff. So what we have to do is we have to turn the tolerance down to a lower number to make it really picky. And then what we can do is just hold the Shift key down, and with the Shift key held down and clicking again, we can add to that. So check it out. I'm just going around here, and I'm going to do the best job that I can adding to this selection right here. Now notice it disappeared. If I go to Edit, Undo, Edit, Undo, I actually deselect it. When I held the Shift key down, I clicked out of here and it made it disappear. I didn't want to go back through and have to do all that work, so I just did Edit, Undo, and it stepped me backwards. So let me try and hold Shift and do this again. I'm clicking and adding to it and just doing the best job that I can about selecting as much as I possibly can through here. All right. Now, another thing I don't want you to forget is right in the center here, this is actually the background. So we want to get inside of there. Now you look at this and you're either thinking I did an awesome job or I have no idea how good of a job I did. I'm going to show you how you can tell. If you come down here and click this tool right here, this is called the Quick Mask tool. That will highlight what you did well and what you did not do well. So as you see here, if I zoom in a little bit, you can see that there are some red spots that I didn't do a very good job of grabbing. So what I could potentially do is I could turn this back off, and I could hold the Shift key down, and I could just, the Shift key down, and I could click on here and it would add to it. That's one way I could fix it. Another way I could fix it is turn the Quick Mask back on, and anywhere where it's red, I can find this eraser tool. Here's the eraser tool right here. Yep. And that's a pretty big brush. So if I go to a smaller size brush, maybe like a 5. Sorry, there we go. Nice small brush. I can get in here and I can erase that. And the whole purpose of erasing it is that I can take away the areas where I didn't want it to select. So when I click that back on, check it out. It works really nicely. So let me show you a little example. Let's say I want to erase a smiley face, the Kool-Aid man. Your parents would know what that means. Anyway, when I you ever see him bust through the door, and then you would know. When I turn this back off, this looks like this. The other thing that you can do is instead of the eraser tool, you can use the paint tool. And as you paint over stuff, it takes that area that was now deselected and it reselects it, right? So the whole purpose of this is turning this Quick Mask on is so that you can do an awesome job. And you got to go around here. This is, if you've ever wondered what the definition tedious means, this is pretty much it. Just going through here, and I want to make sure that I'm getting as close. Whoops, I have the wrong one. I want the eraser tool. Where are you at? Right here. I want to get in here as best as I possibly can, and I don't want to erase the tire, but it's okay to have some of the shadow in there. It's tough to tell the difference between where the tire ends and the shadow begins. So this is more like an art than a science, right? You just got to kind of figure this out and do the best job that you can. And I'm going to leave some stuff that's not so good on here too to show you what happens if we don't do a good enough job. So let's say we've got it perfect and everything's the way we want it to be. We turn the Quick Mask back off. Now check this out. I want to make this background much lighter because it is supposed to be white and it's not white. There was an issue with the photo when it was taken. So if I go up here to Image Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast, if I take the brightness and I ramp the brightness up, it's only going to change the stuff that is selected. It shouldn't mess with the tire. So if I go to the left, it makes it darker. See how it's making the background darker, but it's not changing this. If I go to the right and I make it brighter, it's just lightening the background. It's not changing the tire. So let me show you again. Image Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast. All you should have to do is ramp the brightness all the way up and say okay. And I'm going to do Select and Deselect. And if we zoom in down here on the bottom, you can see on the right side, I did a much better job than I did on the left. You can see how it sticks out like a sore thumb, where we didn't do a great job. Now, the good news is if you didn't do a great job, you can back it up. I can go to Edit, Undo, Edit, Undo, Edit, Undo. And in here, I can actually go back in and I can re-erase. I can fix the stuff that I didn't do a great job fixing. I can fix all of this, and I can make that work. And then when I'm all said and done, and I have it back to where I wanted it to, I can turn the quick mask off. I can go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast, and I can ramp that brightness back up, right? Now, in order to turn this selection off, let's say we're totally done now with doing that. We're going to go to Deselect, Select, and Deselect. There's one little thing that's left here that we've got to fix, and that one little thing is this dust particle here. The perfect tool that we can use is the cloning stamp tool that we used the other day. So if you pick that cloning stamp tool up, and you want a hard-edged brush like this, that's pretty good, and we probably are going to have a little bigger one. It's not showing up on here. Sometimes that happens, but that's okay. I'm going to do Alt, click right next to it, and I got too big of a brush. It's not showing up on my screen. Photoshop does that sometimes. It just happens. Let me Alt click here. When I roll over it and paste it, there it is. It's all fixed. So I have to go really quickly here because I only have about 2.5 minutes left in this video. I can only make 15-minute videos, so I got to go fast. Let's save it. File, Save As, Save on my computer. We don't want to save it in the T drive. If you guys save it there, I'm going to delete it. I can't have you guys saving stuff there. Instead, I want you saving it in the Google Drive file stream. So go ahead and save it there and in My Drive, and you'll have to choose Classroom, and you'll have to choose your class, like my class actually. So there it is right here. And I want you guys to call this your first name, your last name, Tires. First name, last name, Tires. In the Google Drive file stream, in My Drive and Classroom, in your Classroom folder. Go ahead and click Save. All right, now we're almost done. All you've got to do is you've got to hand it in. So to hand it in, over here from within Google Classroom, remember I haven't posted the assignment yet, but let's pretend that if I just go to classwork, let's pretend that this is the assignment here that I'm handing in. Any one of these. All right, you'll click the right one. It will say tires. It will probably say tires and quick mask. I'll have to determine that. But if I go ahead and click this and I click View Assignment, if I want to turn it in, I'm going to click Add and Create. Remember, with the appropriate assignment, I don't have it here, so I'm just using any old one. Google Drive, it's right here, right? So if it doesn't show up here, which it should, you can just go to My Drive and Classroom in 7th grade and just click on it and hit Add and click Turn In, and it'll ask you, are you sure you want to turn it in? Turn it in, and there it is. That allows you to have that not only done, but turned in. And when you're finished with this, like if you're like, oh, I wonder if I did that work for his class. If I just go back to classwork, you can see that I'm logged in right now as a student. You can see that I turned that in, and you can do that with each one of your assignments. You can see whether you turned it in or whether you didn't turn it in, etc., etc. Okay, so you guys go ahead and work on that. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. Remember, this is supposed to be fun. Photoshop is fairly technical, but don't get too excited about it. If you make a mistake, there's always an undo button, and try and have fun with the assignment, and have a good day.